Right. Well, here we are at the end of the second day of BAPCO 2026. The exhibition being dismantled around us. We are literally right at the end here, and I have Chair Darryl Keen and Vice Chair Matt Leat basically to do a kind of wash up of the event for us. And yeah, how do you think it's? How
Well,
do you think it's gone,
I have to
guys?
say, it's been absolutely brilliant. I have loved the whole event. There's been so many good conversations going on. I literally cannot go the length of the venue without somebody saying something that's going to be really exciting and really interesting and give me yet another job, actually.
Right. Right. Okay. Can you talk about what yet another job might be, or
A lot of it's been ideas, things
Right.
that we have been talking about doing and that we're sort of building towards or something like that. We've had a lot of conversations about the bursaries, how we're trying to help people develop into roles within their sector, but also to support BAPCO as well. But I've been chatting with all the vendors, and I'd say overwhelmingly the feedback has been absolutely amazing. Everybody said it's gone really well today. It went well yesterday. Obviously, it's our biggest event. The biggest event we've had. I don't know what the footfall's actually been, but it's felt quite busy, which has been good.
Yeah.
And the feedback's been really positive. There have been, the odd pieces of feedback that are just about the process that we put in terms of the event and things that we can improve. But I'd want that, so I'm more than happy with that. But other than that, people have been saying, no, we've had some really good conversations. We've had lots of interest from customers. What more can you ask? That's what it's about. And it's all, everybody's highlighting the networking that they've achieved. So.
Okay. Well, what do you've got similar experience?
Yeah, I think so. And I think what's been great from the sort of people that have been attending, it's great you've talked to exhibitors and it's been great to have so many here and take up the whole hall this year. I think it's been great though seeing such a diverse group of end users here at differing levels, which has been great. So we've had some, strategic leaders, decision makers, but we've also had, frontline staff that have been able to engage with suppliers that are here, give their views and product roadmaps and help move the things forward in the sector. So I think it's been a great 2 days. It's been so full on. I didn't get to see everything,
No.
which
No.
and there was so many great sessions in the different theatres. I wish I could have been at all of them because the speakers that we've had lined up have all been amazing. And yeah, I just wish there was two of me to go to all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. My experience has been the same. Well, I've been here a lot of the time, but yeah. So what did you think of the? I mean, the ESN session was full of information.
Well, isn't it nice to get some dates?
Yeah.
Get some information actually from ESN. I mean, I'm being a bit cynical there, of course, or a bit flippant, but no, it's great to have ESN here and announcing. And my understanding is they actually get approval to be announcing that sort of level of detail here at BAPCO.
Yeah.
And I think that's kudos to BAPCO actually that we are the organisation they've chosen to be with for that announcement.
Yeah, I think you could be right. Yeah.
I think it was, seeing how many people there were. There wasn't a chair going spare. At the back of the kind of arena area, it was full. All you could see was people looking left and right. And but I think now it's really got momentum. It's time for all of us to listen to that call for action. I think to start to move for ESN becoming a reality. We heard so much about it, but I think as Darryl says, what a great place for ESN to share information with us. I think that shows why BAPCO is so important across what it does.
Yeah, I think
in the public safety sector.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say were the big themes across the course of the show, if there were any? I mean, obviously AI is sort of kind of we've just discussed ESN and.
No, well, I mean, there were some obvious things if you group stuff together, but I actually really enjoyed the sessions this morning, which I was chairing on wellbeing.
Yeah.
And there were some great bits in there, some really simple stuff that we could be doing around preparing people for things like shift work. I can remember when I joined the fire service, it was, you're going to work shifts. It's rubbish. That's your training. And actually, here we've got colleagues from Iceland coming over here and saying, we're actually spending a week preparing people for what shift work's going to be like.
Right.
How much foresight's in that? That's brilliant. And I'm sure there are others that are doing that, but they brought a really good, concise process that is about supporting our control room operators, in the most challenging period of their career, right at the very start. So for me, I love the wellbeing sessions.
Yeah, I interviewed Michelle earlier on, and she was fantastic. So, yeah.
And I think that theme flowed through. I chaired a panel around it was innovation and resilience, and I think everybody thought we were going to be going down a technical resilience space, and actually the whole panel pulled out people being the most important thing we've got. So it's great to see that coming to what people might see as a technology conference. It's not. It's supporting the whole of everything we do in public comm safety. So great to see, and I know that the queue to go and see the puppies, that went down a tree.
Around the block, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, a great organisation actually, being able to look after people's well-being in a really different way, and it's great to be able to highlight that here at the show.
Yeah, and now it's on to Liverpool. Well, it's on to Leeds first, isn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, in terms of the sort of takeaways as well, I mean, forgive me if I'm sort of reiterating the stuff that I said last night and this morning, and Matt mentioned it a second ago about the call to action. For me, that's really important. Every single one of us, all of our members, they're clearly members because they're advocates. So on that basis, go out, talk to your colleagues that aren't members, ask them why they're not, explain to them what BAPCO does, help them understand BAPCO, encourage them to be members. And of course, anybody that's in public safety, the membership is free. It's not even cost you anything. And you get a chance to influence a whole range of things, because of course we're into 999 with the 999 liaison committee. We're doing mates. There's a whole range of aspects of public sector safety that we can advocate for, influence. And if you're a signed up BAPCO member, you can be part of that.
And I think, having CPD this year, for people to come along, I think it's making a really good resource available to staff in control rooms all across the UK at very little cost, no cost, no cost to be a member. Yes, there's a small cost to travel to the conference, but there's so much that you can get from it. And it's really being able to develop some bright stars that are in control room. They're the future leaders in organisations, in the emergency services across the UK. Let's give them a really good foundation knowledge about how technology is absolutely driving everything in the emergency response sector at the moment, because it's fundamental. It's going to pull out data. We're going to all be using AI at a point, and people need a really grounded foundation of how tech is going to support that.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked before, around, Darryl's role as a chief fire officer, and understanding control rooms, etc. This is really great place for people to be able to get to exposure to what actually is available, what we're doing, because control rooms are often seen as behind a closed door in a dark space that nobody thinks of, and actually, you put it really well, Darryl. It's that it's the first part of the chain. I can't remember the term that you often use.
They're the first responder.
Well, it's the kind of the place where everything starts, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it all starts in control.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard you say before, and it does. It's right.
Yeah, all calls start with control was the hashtag I used to use in the fire service. So but it's one of the things that I found really interesting. There were a few people here that I've encouraged to come for the first time. We had a colleague from Imperial College who's doing studies around data and algorithms for things like e-call. A colleague that came from NHS England who is involved in their central IT.
The 2026 show is now closed.
We're finished.
We are.
We are. To see you in Liverpool next year. Please, can I ask all visitors to make their way to the exit?
Where is it next year? I didn't get it.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure we got where that was.
We'll go back. So so I invited or encouraged a number of colleagues to come that hadn't been before.
Yeah.
We had a colleague from Imperial College who's doing research around algorithms for false calls and e-call and so on. I had a colleague from NHS England who does their big data piece or big IT systems, so they're centralised IT systems. We had a lady from that was help. We've had some conversations with around documentaries in the emergency services. So various different people. And the bit that struck me about those people, as they've come and seen me afterwards and said, do you know what? I was amazed at the level of technology and the capability and so on that we've got, available to us and what the suppliers can provide. Do you know what? I think we take that for granted because we see it evolve so much.
I think in the sector we do. Outside of it, the level of knowledge It's not,
Absolutely.
and technology is only going to become more important going forward, obviously.
But I think we look at all of this and we see it evolve and we think, oh, it's a bit better than it was last year. These people that are coming in for the first time to see it again, this is amazing.
blown,
Yeah, yeah.
You know, this is, can you really do all this stuff?
Yeah.
And let's be honest, we know that we can do it all technically. Some of it isn't in control rooms yet,
Yeah.
but that's the whole point of coming here, seeing what you could do. And some of this stuff you could implement really easily.
And I think it's great, you know, talking to people we've had here, the international speakers we've had this year.
Yep.
So I think it's really great that, you know, there's this global connection with other organisations, you know, APCO America, APCO Canada, NINA, ENA, great organisations globally where we're able to share information, and we've reached out to them. We've had their board members here, which has been great, and we're learning lessons now across the world. And that's what we've got to do. We're all facing different challenges. Some of the speakers we had telling the stories, you know, our keynote speaker day one talking about, you know, challenges in Washington with the inauguration, with severe weather, actually hearing that lived experience, it's great. And I think the fact that they want to come and talk to us and share their experience and really share those lessons learned is invaluable. And we've definitely got to keep it up. I think, you know, looking around the world to see what we can bring into the UK as either best practice, innovation, or learning lessons.
Yeah, Dan as well on the first day talking. You know,
From San Bernardino.
Yeah, in relation to wildfires and.
I think the CSIPs piece as well. You know, it's becoming a much more important part of what we do going forward. Keeping, as Matt's just said, keeping us working closely with our international partners. It's absolutely essential. When we start talking to these global organisations, you know, and perhaps it's not right to mention, but I'm going to mention Google and Apple are the two biggest players. Let's be honest in things like mobile comms. And that technology, if we aren't going to them with a global ask, i.e. if we aren't bringing all of our associations together and asking on a global footprint, we're not going to get something for the UK. It needs to be for the world. Yeah. That's how big they are now. And so that CSIPs collaboration is so important. And the great thing is, when you talk to colleagues from those organisations, those that lead on their emergency service information systems and their integration with the emergency services, we're pushing an open door if we do that global ask, because they're all willing to respond.
Could you unpack CSIPs a little bit for people that don't know?
Yeah, so it's the Collaborative Coalition for International Public Safety, and it brings together all the organisations across the globe that do a similar thing to BAPCO and represent their control room colleagues and public safety colleagues in those particular areas. So we've got ourselves, obviously, as a founder member, British APCO. We've got APCO Canada as well as a founder member. We've got APCO International. We've got NINA involved. We've got ENA, the European Emergency Number Association. We've got partners in Australia and New Zealand as well. So it doesn't cover the entire globe, but that's because
and
in some of those...
the BAPCO show 2026 is now closed. Please can we ask all visitors to make their way to the exit? Thank you.
Hopefully we can edit that bit.
I think we'll be all right.
Yeah. So we've done on CSIP. So I think it's that global ask piece that is the key. I think it's so important now.
So yeah, okay, all right, and Leeds next.
Indeed, yeah. So we're off to Leeds Armouries, 11th to 12th of November. So that'll be good. No, obviously we've got experience of Leeds.
Well, it was good last time.
We know it's a good venue.
Yeah.
More intimate than this one. And I think, you know, although everybody said this is very much about networking, Leeds is very, very focused on that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, next year, off to Liverpool.
Very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think, actually, when I've discussed that with people around the venue, that's been positively received as well, hasn't it, Matt?
Yeah, I think it has. I think people have really been up for it. I think we've had a great 10 years, I think it is, in Coventry.
It is, yeah.
And it's been great, you know, and it's been a great venue for us. But I think, you know, another venue in a city, we've listened to our members and vendors that, you know, come to the show. So we're going to go and try something different. And it's going to be, I think, different in a lot of ways. You know, it's a new space. I think we can consider things like what events we're going to do, you know, the dinner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had a great dinner last night with great speaker and that went down really well. But I think it'd be great to hear from people, you know, if you're listening to this, it'd be great to hear from you and actually give us your feedback on the show. How can we make it better? You know, the association's here to represent you. So what can we do as a board to make it better for you? How could we get the information you need or create the space that you need? So please, you know, get in contact with us at British APCO and give us your views, because it's your association. We're just, you know, as a chair and a vice chair and a board of directors, we're in a privileged space to be able to lead the organisation.
Yeah.
But we need feedback from people. And
Absolutely.
I've picked up some great feedback from this event, and I think we've grown every year as an event and an association, changing and developing what British APCO does. But we continue to need to hear from people so that we can make it the best it can be.
Okay, well, that's quite a nice note to end on, I think.
I agree.
Oh, that's all good.
I think, and they've closed the show as well.
And they've closed the show as
Have
well.
they closed the show? I didn't
I
hear.
did you not know?
No.
Right. Well, Darryl, Matt, thank you ever so much.
Pleasure.
See you
Thanks, Phil.
soon.
Nice to see you, Phil.